When you're trying to set up a provisioning list, understanding exactly how much you in particular use a given item is key to making a list that actually will help you. So how can you get that figured out? Hi, I'm Nika Waters and welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. Today I'm sharing a simple trick to help you learn exactly how much you use of any given item. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Lunatech, makers of the hydration spray bottle, odor-free dishcloth, and self-cleaning washcloth. Lunatech offers practical gear designed to save water and reduce waste. A water bottle that doubles as a hose, a dishcloth that doesn't get stinky. Yes, please. Visit lunatechgear.com to learn more. Use code BOATGALLEY to save 10% on everything. Lunatech, innovative gear for your outdoor adventures. Well, I don't know about you, but my outdoor adventures definitely include going cruising. And in order to do that super successfully, having a provisioning list, no matter how big or small, is something that is really important to me. But that list, first of all, you can't just take somebody else's and run with it because you have no idea if you like the same thing that they do. But the other big thing is that it's really hard to know exactly how much you use of something. Take coffee, for example. Sure, you might know that 1 ounce of coffee equals about a cup of coffee, and you can definitely extrapolate that out, but in practical terms, how much coffee do you go through in a week, in a month? It's good to know these things so that you know how many pounds of coffee to load into your boat when you're heading off somewhere. So to that end, one thing that you can do that helps keep absolute easy visual track of everything that you are using and wanting to use on the boat is simple. When you open it or start something, grab your Sharpie and put a date on it. This helps for things like the aforementioned coffee. It helps for, if you've listened to other podcasts, my personal favorite, Half and Half. I can write the date on the carton and know exactly how long it takes to go through a carton of Half and Half. We do it with things like toothpaste and shampoo and deodorant. We'll do it with even things like ketchup and mayonnaise. And sure, doing it once doesn't really help, but if you average it out over a couple or 3 different times, you get a pretty good idea of what your personal use is of a given item. Take coffee, which I seem to be on a kick of today, but I know one of the things that I thought of is that my general thought before I started tracking things with putting a date on it and realizing how long I actually took to go through a pound, I figured I went through about a pound a week. Well, it turns out as we're trying to cut back a little bit on coffee, we actually go through a pound more like every 10 days. That doesn't sound completely crazy, but it does mean that if I'm stocking up for a 2-month Pacific crossing, instead of needing 9 pounds of coffee, we can get away with 6 pounds. Okay, yeah, I will take a couple of extra because running out of coffee would be terrible, but it really helps to know what I need. If we're coastal cruising or if I'm in the States before we leave to go somewhere, when I open that last pound, I know that I've got 10 days to restock and find more instead of just a week. So if the weather isn't good or the stores that we have access to don't have the stuff that we're looking for, it gives me a little bit of peace of mind. So to recap, this may be a very obvious thing. Pull out a Sharpie, write down the date when you open something, and then note when you're on to the next. As a side note, I do actually have a spot to jot these dates down in a notebook. It makes it super easy to look and say, yep, that's how much we need for a given amount of time to go cruising. It's really helpful to look down in that notebook and say, oh, okay, I actually know that I need, for example, that coffee. I know that I go through a pound of coffee every 10 days. Makes it really simple to accurately gauge and make a provisioning list. And accuracy matters, both in terms of budget and in terms of space, as well as just in terms of amounts. I can't wait to share an anchorage with you, and I'll hear about your usage of things, and maybe you can tell me how much coffee you use, if you use any at all. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We love it when we hear from our listeners. We love it when you share us with your friends, and we love it when you don't forget to subscribe. There are 2 of these every single week. Have the most spectacular one.